Fade in the public's been very profitable so far this year, 60% against the spread, and there are 4 very public plays for this Sunday, November the 30th, week 13, coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And as I mentioned, Fade in the Public's been pretty good this season, including 2-1 last week. We have 4 plays here for this Sunday, November the 30th, final day of November. December right around the corner. And don't forget, we will have some Cyber Monday specials this Monday, December the 1st at WagerTalk.com. But let's finish off November here with 4 very public plays for Sunday. All 4 are equally public, so we'll go down in rotation order. First couple games go at 1 o'clock Eastern on the early afternoon card. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, -3.5 to -4 is a very public play this Sunday. And this line currently 3.5 in most spots, 4 in others. There are a few 4.5s, though. Both DraftKings and FanDuel, 2 of the most public books out there, are dealing 4.5s. And one of the reasons this line's climbing a bit into the weekend is that Baker Mayfield had a full participation practice on Friday. He's expected to be back under center after getting injured last week in that 34-7 loss against the Rams. Teddy Bridgewater was very mediocre in backup duty. It is expected for Mayfield to be back here. Also, Bucky Irvin's supposed to be at running back. So the Bucs offense getting healthy, and they need it, as they have lost 3 straight and 4 of their last 5 games overall, both straight up and against the spread. But if you dig a little bit deeper, they've been losing to the good teams, beating the bad teams. They lost to Detroit, the Patriots, the Bills, the Rams, and the only win in between was a 20-point win against the Saints. They've played a really tough schedule. This is a huge step out in the class now against a very mediocre Arizona team that has gone just 1-8 straight up their last 9. Their only win against Dallas in that Monday night game about a month ago. By the way, a tough loss last Sunday. They lost by 3 in overtime as a 2.5-point dog. We otherwise would have had a 3-0 sweep last Sunday in my best bets. I thought it was a good spot for Arizona last week. Not as much so this week, though, having to travel cross country and play a very hungry Tampa team that once again is off of 3 straight losses. So instead of looking at the side here, let's look at the total in this game. And I do think there's some value with the over 44.5. You know, the look-ahead line a week ago is going to be about 48.5. The Mayfield injury bumped it down, but he is expected to go now. And at 44.5, I think there's some value with the over. 45 is a key number, and some of the sharper offshore books already have 45s out there. So I think this line will probably be higher by kickoff on Sunday. And while Arizona's lost 8 out of their last 9, their offense has actually been very good. Better with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. His yards per pass, QB rating, everything better than Kyler Murray's numbers this season. And Arizona's scoring some points. In fact, if you look back over this 9-game, losing 8 of their last 9, they've routinely put up 21 points or more. In fact, they've put up 21 points or more now in 7 straight games, despite winning just 1 of those 7 straight up. The reason, because their defense has been terrible. They've given up 41 points or more in 2 of their last 3 games. They've given up 27 points or more in 5 of their last 6 games. So let's not worry about fading the public or playing with the public here. Let's look at the total instead. Over 44.5 between the Cardinals and Buccaneers at 1 Eastern on Fox. All right, your next game here is also at 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox, and this is the New Orleans Saints at the Miami Dolphins. And Miami's not exactly a public team, but the public isn't necessarily playing Miami here. They're just fading the Saints. And yes, the Miami Dolphins -5.5 are a public play here in Week 13. And of course, a couple weeks ago, Miami was a public play against the Commanders. They won by 3, covered the 2.5 in overtime overseas. Back-to-back wins now for the Dolphins over the Bills and Commanders, and they got a bye week, which probably came in a pretty good time for them last week, traveling back home after the big wins. Their running game has been on point here, 141 rushing yards or more in 3 of their last 4 games. They had not done that in any of their first 8 games this season, so they are running the ball a lot better. Will they have success against the Saints? Well, maybe, but New Orleans is actually a decent defensive team. They're definitely the better defensive team in this game. The problem is they're just a terrible offensive team, and it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Spencer Rattler, or now the new quarterback, Shuck at quarterback, has been terrible this year as well. And when they get behind, they just can't catch up. So New Orleans' chance here is to keep the game close. Otherwise, you don't want much to do with this ugly underdog, even though Miami at -5.5 is a terrible defensive team. Probably shouldn't be laying that many points against anybody. In fact, the Dolphins have only won 4 games this season, and only 2 of those wins have come by more than 6 points. So Miami's a very public play here. New Orleans probably in a decent spot to get back on track after losing 5 of their last 6 straight up and against the spread. The problem is if they get behind, they just have no offense. Hard to back these ugly dogs. You know, we don't just blindly fade the public. And one of the filters we use is not playing on bad offensive teams like New Orleans. Public keeps fading them week after week with success. As I mentioned, the Saints are just 1-5 straight up in ATS their last 6. All right, both those games are at 1 Eastern. Let's go to the late card now at 4 o'clock Eastern. The public is on the LA Chargers minus the 9.5. Chargers also coming in here off a bad loss against Jacksonville a couple weeks ago by 29 points on the road. If you recall, I liked Jacksonville in that game. In fact, that was my free NFL play of the week on Sunday a couple of weeks ago. And don't forget, I do post a free play each and every day on my page at WagerTalk.com. It's always the last cut for my best bet cards. So be sure to go over there for Sunday's free NFL play and also a free Saturday play if you're joining us early during the weekend here for this video. They had the bye last week, and the Chargers coming off the bye probably got it at the perfect time. It snapped their 3-game win streak. Keep in mind, they had the big win against Pittsburgh the week before, so it was a bad scheduling spot at Jacksonville. I do look for the Chargers to bounce back here against a Las Vegas Raiders team that's just been awful this season. 1-9 straight up their last 10 games. They won that opener against the Patriots, which in hindsight was a very impressive win in week 1. They've now lost 9 of their last 10 games since. They're only winning against the hapless Titans. And they entered this game on a 5-game losing streak straight up, and they've only covered once in those last 5 games. So this is very similar to the Saints. You hate to play bad offensive teams and bad, ugly dogs in the NFL, and the Raiders just do not throw the ball well either. Have a decent rush defense, but their pass defense has been suspect, and Chargers are more of a passing offense. You know, the total in this game is very low. It's all the way down to 40.5 now. It opened about 42.5. It's been bet down to 40.5. 41, of course, is a very key number. About a 3 to 4% chance game will land exactly on 41. So there's not much value left with the under. And the other thing I'll point out is the 2 real public big favorites last week were the Lions and the Seahawks, both coming off losses. And the public lost with both those teams. Even though they won straight up, they didn't cover. But both those games went over. And I think this situation's similar this week with this Raider-Chargers game. 40.5 is a pretty low total now. And with the bye week and off a bad offensive showing, would not be surprised to see the Chargers have a breakout offensive game. They had scored 24 points or more in 5 straight games before that. And then they had just the 6 against Jacksonville. So you could look at the team total. By the way, the Raiders' team total in this game is just 14.5, by far the lowest on the board. That tells you how bad their offense is. So maybe just play the Charger team total over 25.5. That way you take the Raiders' offense out of the equation. But once again, this type of game, just like last week when both Detroit and Seattle were very public, big double-digit favorites coming off a loss, they both won. They didn't cover, but the game stayed over. Maybe take a look at Chargers' team total over 25.5 instead of worrying about either side in this one on Sunday. That's at 4:25 Eastern on CBS. All right, your fourth and final public play here for Week 13 is your Sunday night game on NBC at 8:20 Eastern. Broncos and Commanders. And yes, the Broncos minus 5.5 are a very public play this week as well. The public continues to fade the Washington Commanders, not my Washington Commanders, with success. In fact, we've already cashed our season wins play on the Commanders under 9.5. Commanders could go 6-0 down the stretch, and they still can't get over their season win. We've already cashed it with about a month and a half to go. And that, of course, is because the Commanders were coming off a bye last week. They had that game against Miami overseas, lost in overtime. We cashed our season win play way back in the mid-November. On the 16th of November, it already cashed almost 2 months ago in the season. Not my Washington Commanders this year, obviously, as I had the under on their season wins. I thought they were overrated coming in, and also I thought Jaden Daniels was going to be injury-prone, which is what happened. But guess what? This is actually a good spot now for the Commanders. And by the way, I have a deep dive Sunday night video on this game in depth. If you want more analysis, check it out here on Wager Talk TV. But as I mentioned in the video, both teams coming off a bye. And I've always said bye weeks are kind of a contrarian indicator. Good teams don't need it, bad teams do. And the Broncos definitely did not need the bye week. 8 straight wins in a row after the 1-2 start. Did not need the bye, although they did have the big Kansas City win, so maybe it came at a good time. But the Commanders definitely needed the bye. Coming back from overseas, 0-6 straight up and against the spread their last 6 games. The bye week came at the perfect time in Washington, and I do think they're a live dog on Sunday night for a few reasons. First of all, the situational setup with the double byes for both teams. I think that favors Washington. Also like the fact that Marcus Mariota's played well this year. Yes, Jaden Daniels is out, but Mariota actually has better numbers overall for the most part. If you look at his numbers this season, he's averaging 7.5 yards per pass. Daniels only averaged 7. Quarterback rating almost the same, 94 versus 90. And we talk about how Jaden Daniels is a very mobile quarterback. Yes, he ran for 262 yards in 6 games. Mariota just 193 in 7 games. However, Mariota's averaging over 7 yards a carry. Daniels averaged under less than 5 yards a carry, and Mariota's had 4 carries for 20 yards or more. Jaden Daniels has had none this season. I think Marcus Mariota is a very capable backup, and with the extra week of prep, I look for a good effort from the Commanders here. Rarely do I say my Washington Commanders, but I think it is this week, plus 5.5. I think this is a situation in which you can fade the Denver Broncos and fade the public in this one on Sunday Night Football, 8:20 Eastern on NBC. Hey, there you go. The 4 public plays for this week 13, all on Sunday, November the 30th. Recapping once again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus the 4. That line's anywhere 3.5 to 4.5, so we'll say minus 4. Miami Dolphins minus 5.5. LA Chargers minus 9.5. And then Sunday Night Football on NBC, the Denver Broncos minus 5.5, a public side as well. Hey, what are your thoughts on those 4 games? Drop your comments below. I read the comments, I reply back. Sides, totals, player props. How are you attacking these games? Where do you agree or disagree with the public? Where do you think we should fade them? What other games are you looking at for Sunday? Hey, include some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. And don't forget, if you're liking these videos, all I ask is a quick thumbs up like and a positive comment below, and I will keep them coming. Even during the holiday season, I keep these videos coming on a daily basis for you. College football top 25 videos, weeknight college and pro football videos, your Thursday, Sunday, Monday night NFL videos all the time. As I mentioned, the Bronco Commanders Sunday night deep dive is here. Also, your Monday night game, Patriots Giants free play video for that as well. So click subscribe and click the bell for an instant alert so you never miss out when a free play video is posted right here on WagerTalk TV. Now, these free play videos are nice. I give you 15 to 20 free plays every week. They're always spotlight national TV games, high interest games. Most of the time, they're light opinions only. If you're going to play, maybe treat them as 1% of bankroll TV leans. Sometimes they make my best bet card. And the only way to know my official best bets, my strong 4% plays, is to be a direct client at WagerTalk.com. And it's always been the same since I started over 29 years ago in August of 1996. If I'm using a personal best bet, my clients get it as well. I'm very selective, maybe 2 to 3 plays per day on average. So you know I'm putting my strongest plays out there. And right now you can get a 7-day sampler still for just $67. It's the Thanksgiving weekend special. It expires this Sunday. Your last chance to get 7 days all access, football and basketball, college and pro best bets for just $67. Oh, by the way, a little insider tip. It's stackable. That means you can use it over and over again. You can buy 2, 3, or 4 of them in a row and stack them and use them week after week and get that special price. Normally it's $99 for 7 days. Nope. This weekend, $67 gets you 7 days and nights of college and pro football and basketball. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. No promo code needed. Or if you're ready for that long-term investment approach, the instant $500 discount is still available. My 1-year all-access pass gets every college and pro football, basketball, and all of next year's baseball, every play, every day for about $1 a play with that instant $500 discount. Once again, no promo code needed for that package either. Hey, they're both listed on my homepage right now above that daily free play. And as I mentioned, it's the last cut for my best bet cards. You know it's a strong opinion, and that's why free plays have hit over 60% the last couple months. Best bets on over a 60% run as well. Hey, check out the strong best bets, check out the special offers, and go get that daily free play as well right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and hey, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media on X and Instagram at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.